Good morning, Guardians. The Hijabi Gamer here, and yes, this video is later than usual because my work schedule has altered slightly on Tuesdays. I now need to be at work by 12 instead of 6 a.m., so that gives me more time to prepare for this video. It gives me time to solo Challenge of the Elders so I can give you the bosses, and just all around more time in the morning in general. I missed live streaming on Saturday. I realized after the fact that I missed a lot of the people I see during the live stream. So looking forward to seeing you this Saturday. Definitely want to finish playing God of War. Loving God of War. Anyway, I do have the bosses for Challenge of the Elders. It's time for a weekly reset in Original Destiny. Let me know, now that I have more time in the mornings, what other content should I be adding to these weekly resets so I have more time to prepare for these videos. Anyway, first off, let's start with Crucible. Crucible this week is Zone Control. 6v6 team objective. I still like Zone Control. I know I joke about it not really being a tactical exercise in reinforcing and defending acquired territory, but I still like Control because I like that you're doing multiple things at once. Honestly, I liked Crucible in Original Destiny more. I don't think I took it as seriously as Destiny 2. I don't really play that much Crucible. I'm more of a PvE person anyway. But you get a Treasure of Ages box, which will give you silver dust, ornaments, etc., and 10 legendary marks. Also a reminder, in case this is one of my first videos you're watching, you can still run private matches in Original Destiny. So you go under Crucible, you go under private match, and you can even have private Spower racing matches. So in order to do that, you need to go under game options. And one of the things that's odd about it is, if you look here, it looks like you can't select Spower racing. Keep that in mind. It looks like it, and I remember trying it the first time and being utterly confused. No, you can. So you select Spower racing, and the reason it's like that is game mode is not compatible with selected map. So you need to change the map to something that works with Spower racing, which are the last map. So let's go with Campus Martius, whatever, Martius. Then you can add lap counts, time of day. You can even go into a private match by yourself, which, by the way, is the way you get the dead ghosts in Crucible maps. So if you're playing Destiny, you know that you can collect dead ghosts from all over, and that gives you Grimoire score. And there's like, I think one, maybe two. I have them all already. It's been a while. But you can collect dead ghosts in each of the Crucible maps. Now, you could be a little masochistic and do it in the middle of a Crucible match. I would not recommend it. But you could create a private match, go in by yourself, and find the dead ghosts and go from map to map to map. But yes, you can do private matches with Spower racing. So if you do miss Spower racing, you can still run Spower racing. You can even do it by yourself for practice, because honestly, I suck at racing games. Spower racing is among them. I like Spower racing, but I suck at it. See, that one time I played Mario Kart with the Geeks and Gamers team, I think I lost every single time. I'm just really bad at racing games. I prefer shooting games and mostly PvE. I mean, my first favorite game was Halo. Anyway, that aside. So that's a reminder. You can do private matches in Crucible. If this is your first video of mine watching, I've mentioned it every now and then that you can do this. Next, you have one of my favorite things in Original Destiny. And one of the things that pisses me off that they removed from Destiny 2. I understand you can replay Witch Queen stuff, but it's not the same as Destiny, Original Destiny, where first off, you have the entire map open to you. You can go to any mission you want. The only mission you cannot play is the first mission in the game. Other than that, it's going to be on the map and you can pick it. So we have here the weekly story playlist, which is the best way to farm legendary marks, because you do this 5 times, and the first time you do it, you will get a Treasure of Ages box and a minimum of 20 legendary marks, and the next 4 times, you'll get another 20 legendary marks. You could actually get up to 35. This is because they did not remove the daily heroic story mission. So it used to be a daily mission, you got every day 15 legendary marks. And every now, if you're lucky, while you're doing the weekly story playlist, you'll by chance come across the daily mission. And so instead of 20, you will get 35. So at minimum, if you do this, you will get at least 100 legendary marks. You can get over 100. Just keep in mind, excuse me, you cannot carry more than 200 legendary marks. So once you hit 200, don't do anything that will give you legendary marks because you just won't get them. They won't like all of a sudden appear in your post or in your vault. No, once you reach 200, that's it. So you need to spend them. I usually spend them on planetary materials, but you can buy weapons, legendary engrams, etc. from the tower. There's a bunch of stuff you can spend legendary marks on. So this week we have, I believe it's going to be the second set of missions, which are Mars and Venus. I didn't even look. Heroic, you're always going to have heroic, which is enemies appear in greater numbers and are more aggressive. Then you have exposure. Guardian shields are increased but do not replenish. And finally, catapult. Grenade recharge rate is greatly increased. The best option, which is why I said last week during Gazur, pick up Red Death. Because the best weapon to use against exposure is Red Death. Because your health doesn't regenerate with exposure. However, Red Death, each kill heals you and speeds up reloads. So, that's why I said pick up Red Death. It is the best weapon to use when exposure is in effect. Hope you did. It's one of my favorite weapons. So Mars and Venus are the second set of stories in Destiny, original Destiny. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Destiny 2. And these are the stories that take place on Mars and Venus. You can see here, for example, where's Mars? Stuff like find and destroy the source of the Vex surging to protect the Black Guardian. One of my favorite missions on Venus are the ones that take place in the Ishtar Collective, the Ishtar Academy. Follow the stranger's coordinates to a legendary colony lost in the jungles of Venus. I love how excited Ghost gets when you go into the Ishtar library. He just gets so. I can picture my Guardian approaching like the Cryptarch and be like, okay, so I got you access to the Ishtar Collective. My Ghost wants access too. If you want access, you're gonna have to give my Ghost access, because Ghost gets so excited about that. So I'm like, I can see my Guardian be like, we're gonna negotiate a deal because Ghost wants access too. My Guardian's very loyal to Ghost. Anyway. Next we have the, so that's the weekly story playlist, Mars and Venus. Next, we have the Shiva Crisis Heroic, which I always found it interesting that you get less legendary marks by doing Shiva Crisis Heroic missions, which take more time and are more difficult than story playlist missions. I mean, maybe it's just me. I find story playlist missions easier. So you could do this. I mean, you could do it more than 3 times, but after 3, you won't get any more legendary marks. You get a Treasure of Ages box and 10 legendary marks the first time you do it, and an additional 10 legendary marks each additional time, up to 3 times. So I'll say this, I have noticed that when I go into Shiva Crisis Heroic, or even just into a strike, I will be matched. There are more people playing original Destiny, and I was doing Omnigul on my level 12 Hunter about 2 weeks ago, and I was like level 12, and it wasn't even the Shiva Crisis Heroic. It was I picked Omnigul from the map, which is even less likely you're going to get matched with people. More people would rather do, get better rewards with the Shiva Crisis Heroic playlist than to just randomly pick strikes on the map. When I first started it, I was by myself. But within a few minutes, somebody else joined me, not from my live stream or anything, just a random person was matched with me, and a couple minutes later, a third person. So we ended up with 3 people doing a strike I picked from the map. So every time I've done Shiva Crisis Heroic playlist, also, I've been matched, which surprises me. Honestly, I would love to be able to solo them. This is something I've begged Bungie for, the option to be able to solo strikes, but they ignored me, and I've actually been called crazy. That's just me. Anyway, the modifiers for the Shiva Crisis Heroic are heroic, enemies appear in greater numbers and are more aggressive. It's always going to be there. Then we have solar burn, solar damage from many sources greatly increased. So if you have those adept primary exotic weapons and you have one with solar, this is the time to use it. Then you have specialist, special weapon damage is favored, so also include a solar, I don't know, whatever you want. I've been using a lot of fusion rifles in original Destiny these days. I don't really use them in Destiny 2. And then finally, chaff. Player radar is disabled. That really isn't that bad. It can be annoying sometimes, but it isn't that bad. So player radar is disabled. I think that would be more difficult and annoying with Challenge of the Elders than with Shiva Crisis Heroic. So that's the Shiva Crisis Heroic. Then we have the weekly Nightfall strikes. The weekly Nightfall strike is the Nexus Mind, which this time I actually brought up a picture of him. So let me bring up the where is it? The picture of him. Not that. So this is the boss right over here for the Shiva Crisis Heroic. It is the Nexus Mind. This is the mission that starts with Cade 6 and one sec. Where's the game? All right, there we go. This is the mission that starts where Cade is talking with Ikora. And she's like, Cade, what are you doing here? And you go, and depending on which version of it, you're either going to be facing falling captains or minotaurs. Invisible taken minotaurs. And you go up and you keep going up. And then you reach a point where Cade admits he's bored. And then you end up having to drop down. And he's like, you know, it makes me sick to my stomach every time you do that. And it's like, I don't even have a stomach. And you drop down and then you face this guy. There's a spot you can actually hide to cheese him from. It's really close. So it's like this wall that you go through this hole. And if you stay close to the wall, you're good. So it's a spot to hide. But I think there's also a spot up top that you can cheese it from as well. But if you like move a little too far, it will automatically give you that message of, you know, returning to allies. So you have to be really close. And it's only, I mean, you can shoot from it. It's not a really great spot, but you can still shoot from it. So the modifiers for this are epic. They're always going to have epic for the Nightfall. Heavily shielded and highly aggressive enemies appear in greater numbers. Then you have specialist. Special weapon damage is favored. You have, oh joy, Juggler. Now, Juggler, I've said this before, Juggler is a mixed bag. It's both good and bad. On the negative side, it means you have to be rotating your weapons, which is especially annoying when you have something like Specialist in effect and you really want to focus on using your special weapon. Because when Specialist is in effect, that means your primary and your heavy do less damage and your special does more damage. Your secondary weapon, special weapon, whatever, does more damage. So on the one hand, you have to rotate your weapons. On the other hand, you will get more heavy ammo and special ammo when you're using your primary. Because when you think about it, normally the ammo type you get the most of is primary ammo. But when you're using your primary weapon, primary ammo won't drop. So you have to get more special ammo and more heavy ammo. So I've noticed whenever Juggler is in effect, I will get more heavy ammo. So that's a positive side to Juggler. Then you have Chaff. Player radar is disabled. That I can see being a little more difficult to deal with in a Vanguard Nightfall. And finally, Match Game. Enemy shields are resistant to all unmatched elemental damage. What I personally would do in this case is if I have any adept primary weapons, which I do have, I would pick one for the adept. So I'd pick one element. I would probably go with Arc because I really like Zalo Supercell. So I'd probably go with Zalo Supercell as my primary. Then I would go with a solar fusion rifle for my secondary and an Arc and a void machine gun, because that would give me more ammo, at least up until I get to the boss. Once I get to the boss, then I will switch my heavy to a rocket launcher so I can do more damage on the boss. But up until I get to the boss, this would give me more ammo for more elemental types so I can deal with the different enemy shields. So this is what I personally would do. Now, I haven't soloed a Nightfall in a while. I'm really out of practice. But that, given Match Game, that's what I personally would do. I like Zalo Supercell. But, I mean, you could switch that out. I would personally use a machine gun, at least up until the boss, as my heavy. Probably a fusion rifle, maybe a sniper rifle, depending on the circumstances or where I'm at, as my secondary. And then because I'm not a really big shotgun person, so I would probably go either a sniper rifle, maybe a fusion rifle. If I really feel that I'm running out of ammo and I'm dealing with a lot of shields, I might go with a sidearm, simply because having the ability to switch weapons with different elemental types would really help. So I might go with a sidearm because you get more ammo with a sidearm, and you spawn, if you die, you spawn in with sidearm ammo. So I would go with the sidearm because you have the option of having more ammo to at least break the shield of the enemy, and then maybe switch to my primary to finish off on the enemy. And I would probably go with Zala Supercell simply because I like it, but maybe I'll go with I think I have at least one adept exotic primary that is a scout rifle. I might go with that simply because with specialist in effect, it means my primary is going to be doing less damage. So I probably want something that's more damage hitting, higher impact to try and compensate for that. So instead of Zala, which is an auto rifle, I believe it's an auto rifle for some reason. Where's my Zala? Yeah, it is an auto rifle. I might go with, I think I have a solar adept scout rifle, so I would go with the scout rifle. But that's what I would do. I'd probably go with the scout rifle for my primary. Anyway, that's what I personally would do in this case with match game, because you really have to prepare for match game with having multiple different shield types. I mean, it's not like Destiny 2, but it's still easier to just... I mean, you don't get the pop when you match the element type that you get with Destiny 2, but it's easier to deal with having the same element type to the shields. So that's what I would do with the Vanguard Nightfall. I would remind people also to pick up the bounties from Zavala. Zavala has weekly bounties for the Nightfall. You have to go to Zavala. They're not with the bot at the bounty board. There are Nightfall bounties with the bot at the bounty board, but you need to pick up from Zavala. Now keep in mind, these are weekly. So if you don't feel prepared yet to do it, because one of them is 30 minutes, let's say you want to practice run, just those are weekly ones. You can only do it once per week on each character. I would definitely do this on my hunter, but I think I've actually done this boss. I'm pretty sure I did do this boss. I remember doing it and just having to deal with those captains. At one point I did it with the captains, and at one point I did it with the Minotaurs. Now I did finally defeat it, but there's no, at least for me, correct me in the comments, but for me, I've noticed it changes. So there are times where you would go down to do the Nightfall and it would be the fallen captains, and at other times it would be the taken Minotaurs. Also, there's a point where you have this round ball that you use to unlock the gate, and you don't need to go from the outside. You could go from inside. So there's like this room that connects them, and some people I've noticed go from the outside. You don't need to go from the outside, you just go through the inside and you're protected. And you can put it down and shoot enemies. So I would like put it down and quickly alternate between shooting enemies and picking it up again, so I don't have to deal with that. Anyway, that's what I would recommend for the Nightfall. It's been a while. Maybe I'll try to solo it. The thing is, I've been playing God of War, and I really like God of War. I want to finally platinum Stray, so I need to really focus on Stray. Plus, I have, Steel Rising, which I heard really, really good things about. So this was not easy to get. It's like I had to cancel one order and pick it up from somewhere else. I like physical games. Anyway, that's the Vanguard Nightfall. Next, we have Challenge of the Elders, which was not fun. You can guess who one of the bosses is. Anyway, first off, you have a melee kill bonus, which I always remind people, don't forget your knife throw with Knife Juggler with the Hunter, because your throwing knife counts as a precision kill and as a melee kill. So if you get a kill with your throwing knife, you will get the bonus points because it counts as a melee kill. Next, you have Specialist. Special weapon damage is favored. And finally, Trickle, which is annoying because this includes your throwing knife. If you miss the precision kill with your throwing knife, then it has to recharge the old-fashioned way, and Trickle, recharge of abilities is significantly reduced. Now, the bosses are, this is why it was so much fun, Val Araun, Cabal Strategist, Val Araun, the not taken Cabal with the Scions. Yeah, I hate him so much. He is such a pain in the butt to deal with. Add the fact that you have Trickle in effect. Yeah, not fun. The second boss is the, not Naruisk. It's, Kexis. Kexis the Betrayed. Kexis the Betrayed is the Taken Fallen. This is the boss that will drain your super. So just when you think you finally got your super fully up, he goes and he drains it. This is the boss with all those annoying vandals that are constantly popping their bubble. One thing I have found, normally I prefer a hand cannon as my primary, but in this case, a distance weapon. I ended up switching to Mida multi-tool, and that helped a lot. But it is Kexis the Betrayed, and those vandals are just a pain in the butt because they're constantly popping that bubble, and your time is limited. So it's not like you can stand there and wait for them to just release the bubble. Very, very annoying. On top of the boss sometimes hides, so you're trying to find him and you're running all over the map, then all of a sudden, bang, you run right into him, and yeah. Also, don't forget, Val Araun has a thump attack, which is just... And finally, the third boss is the Not Taken Vex. I think it's the Mind, but it's the one where where it does that wah, bang attack, and you have to make sure you're not in the open when that attack hits. So it's a pain in the butt, but it isn't that bad. I soloed it. I did not get a very good score, mostly because of the first two. Especially Val Araun. I really don't like Val Araun because he's such a jump in difficulty. Compared to most of the other bosses, the Cabal are the hardest. And they're an insult. This is how the Red Legion is an insult to the Cabal. There's supposed to be this elite, again, here's Cat going on another rant about the stupid Cabal shields. Yes. It's because you can't shoot through these shields. You have to hit them right. Whereas in Destiny 2, you just shoot through the Cabal shields. It's just... I cannot believe it. The elite of the Corpus have shields that you could shoot right through. Are you kidding me? That's just embarrassing. It's like the Red Legion, Dominus Gaul, conquered the tower, fought off the Guardians, stole the Traveler's Light, has shields you can shoot right through. Whereas the Cabal, whose shields you can't shoot through, but can't do the fancy expanding. I mean, what's the point of them being able to expand if you can still shoot through them? I'm gonna keep saying it, the Grenier from Warframe, they aren't the smartest tool, the sharpest tool in the shed, have better shields than the Red Legion. Rant over. But you know me with that. Anyway, that's Challenge of the Elders. Finally, the weekly featured raid, Heroic Golgoroth Challenge, Oryx Challenge, War Priest Challenge. King's Fall. Original King's Fall. Let me know in the comments. I haven't done Destiny 2's King's Fall. I'm not feeling the Destiny 2 thing. I'm just not happy with Destiny 2. I prefer original Destiny, but let me know. Is the King's Fall in Destiny 2 better? Should I be working in Destiny 2 towards being able to do King's Fall with Lord Tachimi, who every week sends me an invite saying, come join us for the raid, and I'm like, do I really want to do this? And now I have to deal with learning how to do it, surrounded by people who know how to do it. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Sorry for the rambling on, but I hope this stuff helps. I've been playing this game for a long time, and I hope to see you in the tower.